All right, here we go. All right. Okay, we're going to get started. Let me just make sure everything's working all right. These 3D things are very difficult the further we get into this ascension. We got Shelly Sullivan on, third show of the day. We got one more after this. Can't remember who it is. But anyway, we're going to spend the next hour or so with Shelly. She's got a YouTube page, been doing the work for a long, long time. So let's get her up here. I want to thank everybody for continued love and support and contributions that allow us to keep going every day. Never underestimate the power of an 11-11 contribution because they all add up or we wouldn't be here. But thank you so much. And please share if these shows resonate because we're getting killed on the Facebook algorithms. Unmute. What's happening? Uh-oh. Let me see here. No,
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That was my fault. What's going on with you, Shelly Sullivan? What's happening?
So much is going on.
I love your necklace. Looks very cool.
That's a gift from the universe.
What's that? From the universe?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. So, there is a lot going on, and you sent me a note about some things you wanted to talk about. I don't normally read any of the messages. I can't recall exactly what they were, but I'm certainly open to whatever you want to talk about.
Well, originally I wanted to talk about something, and then I changed my mind over the past week because I released all that.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on, isn't there?
It is. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Stuff is coming up to be released, and I think we need to remember that. That some of the things that are coming up, it's no different than our own personal journeys. These things come up, and sometimes we forget they're actually coming up just to be released, not to be relived and empowered further, and they're meant to be discharged so we can move to one singular timeline.
Yes.
But what's on your mind today? Since you've released that, what's going on with you?
Well, since the last time we met, I've been through one hell of a initiation.
Yeah.
And I call it initiation into the fire for the divine feminine.
Yeah.
And it's been going on for about 4 or 5 years, intensely for the past 3 years. And yeah, that's what I've been going through. And I finally woke up at 4 a.m. in the middle of the night, and the puzzle pieces came together completely for me to understand what it's all about.
Right on.
Yeah.
When did this happen? When was that 4 a.m.?
In Canadian time, this last night.
Last night.
Yeah. So
this is what this show is all about: real-time intel, spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and depending on what you're about to talk about, courageous. But yeah, so this came in at 4 a.m. Canadian time this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it? What's going on?
Okay, so I guess I'll start from the initiation. After I spoke with you and I talked about the twin flame
Yeah.
union, etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, since then I was initiated into a initiation of fire, where I actually, for the past 3 years, have felt like I've been burning, like on fire, and it has been a purification of my body, integrating the diamond sun body.
Mm.
And along with that, though, as I'm integrating the light from the cosmic light of our creator through the central sun into the solar sun and into our light bodies here, I've also been simultaneously purifying, and the veil's been lifting where I see the truth in all things.
Mm.
So I'm clearing and purifying the unorganic illusions and seeing the truth in all the technology that's not organic, and then purifying for the sun body to come in online and create from a pure state of creation.
Right on. And
Yeah,
as goes the individual, so goes the collective. So
yeah.
give us some more on that. How does that compute?
Okay,
Can
so
you?
what I've been doing just naturally, I've been going out into nature and working with light and bringing it through from the creator into the cosmic light codes into our diamond sun, central sun, and bringing it into my crown sun disk and into my body and into the core of earth. So I've been doing that for about 3 years straight,
Wow.
and that's been purifying me. And then along with that, which I've consciously been doing and aware doing the work, I've been awakening to the effects of this preparation for 5G and how it's affecting my light body, or how I'm not really affecting me, but how it would affect if I didn't have the tools of the sunlight body to balance it out.
Hmm.
Right. So with this, what's been happening is I've been on this intense journey where I feel like I'm burning from the inside out constantly with fevers, colds, flus, clearing past trauma, past pain of this lifetime and many others for the divine feminine. So I'm going through different integrations of other past lives of who I was and the collective, etc. And so it's hard for me to tell sometimes whether I feel like sometimes I'm being attacked by weaponry because it's so intense, and I see the truth with the technology of mind control and electromagnetic fields, dirty electricity, all that stuff, and how it's affecting the human body if you're not like upgrading and building your immune system.
Mm.
So it's been intense, and it's been hell, but I've finally realizing that the more and more, the higher in light I got, I had to be pushed out of the area that I'm living in. So this happened with now 1, 2, 3 houses I'm in. So I had to sell my first house, move into another house. I moved into nature thinking I'd be better off. Then I had to sell that house because I started to have to clear like demonic forces, energies just out of this world, that, and through electoral voltage, like I felt it actually in the house affecting the house. So I had to sell that house, and then all that went along with that was just unbelievable. Then I moved into a new house, and the higher my frequency got, the light expansion, the more the intense the negative fear and radiation around me in the area that I live was affecting me. So now I'm up north on water and I'm stabilizing better because of it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how everybody's experience is unique, and at the end of the day, it's the same. You know,
Mhm.
and then you have the added part of it where the work they're doing is very real, first and foremost for themselves, but also there's a collective aspect to it. There's no question about it. You mentioned, for instance, about the potential effect of different things, different what? Let me see, different perceptions of energy,
Mhm.
uh, and uh, and that you said that if a person is not upgrading, then they're more susceptible to it. So I try to like bring everything to maybe like one universal explanation through this conversation,
Mhm.
so that because there is a lot of complications to everybody's intel when you throw it all out there, when it's all actually the same thing. But so to that point, would you say, or not, there's no right or wrong, we're here to have a conversation. Would you say that the upgrading is directly related to the brutal honesty of the soul, these one-to-one conversations and experiences we have with the universe? In other words, inner work, shadow work, personal responsibility as a co-creator, and that type of thing. Is there anything in beyond that process that I'm leaving out?
No, it's all like you said, it's all the individual journey. And for my specific journey, it's I am a parent of a soul monad. You know how there's talk of the 12 key twin flame pairs?
Yeah.
So my twin and I happen to be one of a monad of 144,000, or how many ever it is at this time. So therefore, how it's shown to me, the purification process that's been going on with me since 2009 is necessary, and the divine feminine energy has stepped in and decided to purify to the depths of the lowest that we can go, like down to the first dimension, or the first. And whereas in my case, my twin has stayed in the higher frequencies, because if we were both doing it, it would be hell. It just wouldn't work. So I, as the divine feminine, have went down into the lowest frequencies to purify and remove, dismantle all that of the past creations from thousands of years ago, right?
Yeah.
And how it's showing to me in my experience is that I'm a sun body, part of a sun body source, right? And that there's 12 suns around that cosmic sun body of creation, and each monad is doing the work to clear for the new earth, for the portal or the gateway, so many can connect back to source, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then how it's showing for me is through the sun body. I've been shown that over and over, and I'm interacting with I call them higher intelligence beings now. I don't like to call them extraterrestrials or anything, because that's just an old name. It's got a bad rap. But things are working through others to guide me on my path, and they're constantly working through bodies of light to give me like precise messages of my path, because I'm on this on my own without a rule book, and it's really it's hard. So, but in someone else's case, in yours and Morgan's case, it could be like you guys are working together as the one soul of light, and it's coming through in your experience, right? Yeah. So this is how I'm experiencing, and I'm experiencing it this way so I can convey it to others to help them raise their light body and go through the portal back to oneness with source.
Yeah, this is exactly how it works. I mean, everybody's got a piece, I mean, I guess we're all connected to the entirety of it, but it seems like in this experience that we're sharing, everybody's got a piece of it, and all of them are vital. Some people talk about being a buffet or a smorgasbord, where you create this environment and there's many different processes, modalities, experiences, stories, and such, and they all carry code. But I'm a big believer, since this happened to me not 8 or 9 years ago, from what I was told, that the most important, the transmissions or information or code that come in are first and foremost meant for the individual that brings it in, to anchor it in. And then from there, it becomes part of their mission, however that plays out. You mentioned something about a partner. You were going down to the lower dimensions. He would be in the higher dimensions. I've heard a lot of different scenarios involving these divine partnerships, and they're called a lot of different things. And, including some people that are, and I believe I respect everybody's realities, that they know in their own, pure essence that their partner is not even incarnated. And they're working, through the ethers. Is your partner walking the earth, and are y'all like in the same geographical area, or are y'all in separate parts of the world?
My twin creator, I call him, because the twin flame name is just so distorted.
Sure. Yeah.
he is on the earth, and we're fully merged spiritually, mentally, emotionally, etherically as one. We know who each other are. And this has been like a super, super complex mission in order to be able to bring our energies together physically. A lot had to be cleared.
Yeah.
And that's what's been in the process for so long. So we know who each other are. And when the exact timing is right, we're coming together. And it's
Wow.
going to change everything here on
Wow.
Earth.
I think there's a lot of that happening. You know, there's talk about drop-ins or walk-ins for those that may have been or that weren't incarnated, walking in or dropping into another body. And then, you know, some of this that I've picked up on has been communicated to the one that's incarnated, you know. So you guys, like, I mean, that's really interesting. Like, to be now, have you ever met in the physical?
Yeah, that's
Oh, you
when
have.
we shook hands, and his it started with his right ear chakra was activated, so he can hear me, everything I'm doing. He's like, you know, when Mary Magdalene or Jesus and Mary Magdalene were on Earth 2,500 years ago, and she witnessed his ascension into his light body.
Wow.
So what's happening now is he's witnessing the divine feminine, my ascension into my light body, embodied here.
Wow.
So he's knows everything that's going on, and it's been so intense and scary and blissful at different times that it's and it's new. It's not like we've done this before, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what's been going on. So he's been activated in his ear chakra. Our what came to me last night is, you know how we have 7 chakras? Well, of each one of those chakras, to me, I don't really even call it a chakra. It's like a communication center, a portal center.
Yeah.
And each one is a communication center. So the crown communicates to the cosmic creator, right? Or our creator. The third eye is communication telepathically between you and your soul. The throat chakra is communication to everyone around you that you want to communicate with. The heart is the communication again to the soul source. The solar plexus is, this is what came to me. What's a solar plexus? It's another intuitive mind for your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sacral is another mind. So my point is that we have 4 mind systems communicating with other souls of the monad or whatever souls you're connected with. It's a communication center. And the biggest one is your sacral. That the sacred creative sexual energy, that portal area is a communication center.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
learned.
you won't get any argument from me here. The sacral seems to be sacral seems to be you know, there's been a lot of discussion about clearing chakras over, you know, the last few years. And there was a lot of time spent in the root, you know, and there was a lot of time spent in all of them. But the sacral seems to be coming to the surface right now. What are your thoughts on that? Is that something that that aligns with what you're feeling or resonates with what you're feeling?
Oh, for sure. To me, I think that's the primary communication area when it comes to creativity and the creation on the new earth. Like
Yeah.
that has to be, that's the most powerful energy that is for creation here on the new earth right now.
Yeah.
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 And it's
Yeah.
intense.
That falls in line with what we've experienced, no doubt at all. Now, you said that you met via handshake. Is that right?
Yeah, I was guided to meet my twin flame, and it was, I guess I was in the frequency where my soul was ready to meet the other half, right?
Hmm.
And so I had been drawn to him in magical ways on TV, the TV screens, the video, like internet. And I'm like, why does this guy keep coming into my awareness? Like it was just magic how he would appear on things and it would resonate. And then so it started to happen, and I couldn't deny that it was, you know, spirit reaching out to me.
Yeah.
So I said to my mom, I want to meet this guy. And I never thought anything of him like romantically or anything like that. Just I resonated with his energy field, right? And what he was all about spiritually. So within 2 days, I was sitting on my computer trying to research him a bit. And I met him within 2 days, and he's a famous person.
Yeah.
We shook hands. he was activated, I was activated, and that was 7 years ago.
Wow.
Yep, it took this long. It took me about a year and a half to figure out that we were soul related.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 3 to 4 years to believe, 15, 16, about 3 years to believe what it was. And then another, I think 3 years to clear everything.
Wow. And so how long did it take? I'm just saying this because I think this is also another thing that's starting to become more common. And there are different variations. So I think it's important. And obviously your story's going to have codes in it anyway. And you're carrying certain codes as well. But how long did it take for y'all to figure out, or really, let me say it this way. How long did it take for the human aspects in the two of y'all to align with everything else that you knew? You know, that in other words, nothing could happen until the free will of the human was exercised in alignment with a higher wisdom and knowing.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
In a total of, for me, about 4 years to really understand what was going on and what the work was in order to come into union with him physically.
Yeah.
And for him, like when I met him, I found out 2 years later we were twin flames.
Yeah.
Even though I was shown all along and things that God presented for me, or creator, source, light, that is undeniable, which I've written about in the book that I published. But for him, it took a bit longer because his life was totally different circumstances and experiences, right? So, so in total, it's taken us until last year to know that we were truly who we are.
Wow.
Yeah, so 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but the thing is, Todd, is that in the soul monad, there's the beginning of creation. It depends on how old your soul is,
Mm-hmm.
how much you have to clear and stuff. Like that's what from my experience. Yeah, the older the soul, the more work you have to do.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's why all these kids are coming in and they're all clean.
Yeah, they're.
So, I mean, do you consciously work together, or is this all done in the ethers?
Well, now we are. Now we know we're working together on it's an important mission on Earth right now. And there's galactics involved in this purification and balancing and coming out with the truth, a lot of truth.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, because I think a big challenge for all of us is like bringing it into the human aspect. Like the human, like you said, it took you a long time to believe it, you know? And I think that happens for a lot of this stuff, even if we have, divine episodes and we all have our stories and like, did that really happen? Or am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when you start to have two working together, two or more, then there's a really whole other dimension, so to speak, opens up a whole new math at a exponential level. It just changes everything when they're conscious, and even when they're not. Don't get me wrong, because Morgan and I worked in the ethers for a long time before we met, and of course some of the stories that I alluded to earlier. But so you guys, the human aspects are involved in saying, hey, this is what's going on. What's the next step and all that stuff?
Yeah. So so we met, and then for the first 3 years, it was figuring it out, trying to get cleared enough where we know that we're sitting in two separate rooms. He's in California or Hawaii. I'm in Canada usually, or Costa Rica. And we're together. We can sit and come to a meeting place and know fully well in our human bodies that we're communicating.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time. He's like a part of my body that I can't. At this point, we're one. Like our minds, everything is thought the same. We share thoughts, feelings, everything. Yeah.
Wow. And so last question on that. I mean, have you guys like made any plans to like connect? You know what's going to happen, you said earlier.
Yeah.
Or do you have any timeline? I know timelines are kind of hard to, linear timelines and even planning is kind of hard to fathom at this point, with the directions that and the guidance that we get, which just blows them away. Like you can't make any plans, but do you feel like it's kind of getting closer? I mean, are you just kind of staying open and detached?
No, I know when and how it's going to happen. It's all telepathic, and so when the time is right, that's when we'll get together.
Yeah.
And we're in the height of ascension, so twins are going to be getting together fast.
Yeah. 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 It seems to be happening. There's no question about it. So,
Okay.
and as far as like, this whole journey you've been on, whether it be in regard to this relationship and connection that you're talking about, or anything else over the last 3 or 4 years, it's been really seriously, even more so over the last few months or even weeks. I know that you're picking up, because I remember talking to you before, and I've seen some of your stuff. You're picking up certain collective intel. What's the primary talking points or bullet points at this point that would be appropriate, or that would be something to consider in respect to to today, March 13th, 2020, and as we go forward.
The collective right now is going through a purification. I believe that this virus, and I've been prepared for it for a long time, is in some ways a blessing in disguise for purifying the planet. And so that's key point. And along with the purification, the truth becomes more clear, and people are more prepared to take in the light that's going to come their way, because there are going to be flashes of events. I don't know that it's going to be like, wow, the earth flashes before everyone at one time, but there are flashes of light coming in, and that's what's raising the earth to where it belongs. And what else? It's all about truth telling now, and being transparent, telepathy with one another, and being able to understand what it is to be in a higher vibrational love union versus old relationship. That's all being broken down right now too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It seems too, because I know you've been in the game for quite some time. I think you've been, when I checked your YouTube a while back, 7-8 years back, you were doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But one of the things I noticed too in 2020 is those folks that have been out there in the forefront, which are, obviously they're more recognizable because they've been visible or more visible.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about teachers and, what we used to refer to as healers, practitioners, channelers, mediums and such, that there's seems to be an evolution occurring, or let's say, I would say even like a more open, more open frequency. In other words, some of them that I've noticed are changing. They're not so attached to, let's say, one channel that they've been receiving for 3 or 4 years with concrete information. They're actually expanding their the frequencies that they can represent, channel, transmit through, and that type of thing. Does any of that resonate with you? And do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So your question is, what I used to do before, am I in a different?
Oh, not necessarily directed at you. I'm just saying, because I know you've been in the arena for a long, long time. Yeah. How has that affected you? Has it affected you? And again, there's no right or wrong. I'm just curious as to what you've observed and what you've experienced in relation to the expansions that we've gone through, and how it relates to our skills, abilities, modalities, processes, and the connections that we have with the universal family.
Yeah, the first thought that comes to mind is now people who are the forerunners of this ascension, their main purpose is to empower others to do the same as what we have learned to do. So it's not about being the teacher who's going to continue to get you, they're going to teach you to get there yourself. It's all about empowerment. Like in one, say you're a healer and you're going to sit with someone, rather than work out a payment of like, buy 6 sessions, we'll get there. That's no longer, it's like 1 session, it's done. And then you can move quickly to the next, right? So it's all about empowerment and equality, and showing that we're all the same at the same level. Maybe some are learning, at a different time.
Yeah.
It's all about empowerment and equality of everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also there's been, I think, several. I mean, there's infinite consciousnesses within the universe, especially in this experience that we're all sharing. Uh, for instance, one of the things that's been talked about by more and more people in in kind of a synchronicity has been dragon energy
Yeah.
since maybe the end of 2018. Do you? And I know in your work that you connect. It's a regular thing. It's a way of life for you. Have you noticed in the last few months any particular faces of the universe or consciousness that are stepping up with specific messages or energetic activations or anything that they might be unique to or a specialty? It might be a specialty of theirs. Have you noticed anything like that?
Um, you mean energies from the universe?
Yeah, like I mean, like say, complexes, energy complexes, whether it be archangels, whether it be galactics. I mean, are
Yeah,
you having any of them step up, that have had specific messages that uh, seem to be suitable for the time that we're at now, that would like we're ready for it now, that type of thing?
for sure. The Great White Brotherhood, the Ascended Masters, are all here working really closely with us. The ones who have ascended already out of body,
Mm,
who are the masters energetically, who are working with us, walking with us, archangels as well, with no names. I don't usually go by too many names. One name that comes through a lot is Baba G.
Baba G.
Jesus at work with Isis, Osiris, and Mary Magdalene. But Baba G's a big one. He keeps coming through. And other than that, archangels, we are the archangels here.
Yeah.
Like, all of us. We are all of that. And then the dragons I worked with too, they came through. They were doing the cleanup 2 years ago around the political
Mm,
area. And then there's the rainbow dragon frequencies that are gorgeous. But there's working with everything. It's everything. Palladians, Octurians, the logos, the solar angels a lot, like the
mm.
solar angels. And what else? Inner earth beings for sure. The sun in the earth is
Wow.
communicating. I communicate a lot with the sun, our
Mm-hmm.
creator. And then there's the 33 or more rainbow frequencies of light that
Mm.
are here working through us for creation. So I'm in tune with all of them, and I don't really have a name for all of it. I just know that I'm one with all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is another
big one.
occurrence. Yeah, which is another thing I noticed too, is where folks like yourself are it's starting to become a singular voice almost, where it's not this particular face or that. I was just curious at what your experience had been. What do you think is the other than what you mentioned before, but what do you think is the one or two um, uh, most important uh, messages or energies that have become available at this time, March 13, 2020, and as we head into the rest of 2020?
Is working with the light, utilizing the light like consciously from the creation of our creator is light, right?
Hmm.
In my experience, and working with that light and knowing how to bring it through and anchor it into the body, into the earth, and stabilizing all, and teaching others to do the same. That's one thing for sure. And preparing people for telepathy and not to understand and be able to discern your own thoughts from others is huge.
Yeah.
And the clearing of fear, of course, which is going on now. And the big thing for me, why, when I was brought to the awareness of the 5G thing that's happening, it's not like I sat there and got into it and wanted to research what's going on. I was placed in an area in Canada and was shown year after year after year what had been going on in a town that is controlled by the powers that be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was shown this specifically, that you're in a town right now that is being controlled and people are being pushed into these towns, caged of electromagnetic fields, basically, and GMOs and ways to enslave that area, right? And the higher in frequency you get, the more you're seeing the truth of it. And my message to people is that no matter how uncomfortable you get, you're going to be pushed out of your comfort zones to go into an area that's more suitable for your frequency. And these places like community, say a main town, like I live in Newmarket, it's all young families raising their families and working 9 to 5 and doing all the old stuff, right? And that has to change, where people have to spread out more and do what's healthiest for their family, and not be forced into a small little town and to reside there and be enslaved.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing for me was eventually, so I had to move 3 times over the past 4 or 5 years, sold 2 houses. Now the last house, just the other day, I made the move up north because I've been forced out of my town. Basically, I just get more and more uncomfortable, whether it's powers that be that are making me uncomfortable because they don't want my light there, or it's my higher self and spirit saying you need to get further up north out of the fear-mongering areas, right?
Yeah.
So I had to leave, and it's been hard, and other people are going to be facing the same thing.
But you're following your guidance, and that's the main thing, right? Yeah, that's the main thing, because a lot of people are getting moved around.
Yeah.
Without a lot of explanation. Not always, is so precise or understood, but obviously they're being moved around the grid, in certain places for a reason, or really for multiple reasons, I would imagine. Have
Yeah.
you had, and you're an energy practitioner, right? I mean, you work with people, right?
Yeah.
Have you noticed, because I've talked to a couple recently that were talking about how their clientele has really changed. And I asked that question a lot last year, but the feeling of it this last month or so has been different. They're talking about really a lot of people walking in the door and having these experiences, and I guess in a sense waking up very rapidly. Are you experiencing any of that?
Yeah. So I used to be a practitioner one-on-one for a long time. And then in 2016-ish, I had to stop because I had so much purifying to do for the collective. So I stopped that. So now as a practitioner, whenever I have meetings with someone, whether it be a massage therapist, a doctor, a lawyer, a group meeting with people, like I go away to a lot of meetings with professionals in the electromagnetic field, right? So no matter what, I sit with someone, it's like their spirit pops in and starts communicating with me from a higher level. So I'm no longer really interacting with the human so much. I'm interacting with spirit, and it's like miraculous what I'm experiencing. Like,
Wow.
Stories I have, I'm going to be writing another book on it. It's out of this world. Yeah.
So you go to meetings with people, professionals, EMF professionals that are in that field.
Yeah.
Now, are these meetings that you initiate, or are these meetings like conferences or seminars that you just go and pop your head in so you can be exposed to the information and or the people?
No, it's all been orchestrated by my higher self to be in these places, and I helped to bring Tesla technology into Canada. So my friends were bought the technology from Europe. It's called the Sequex, and so I accompanied them, magically pushed to go with them or by my spirit to end up in Rome 5, 6 times. That's one of my grid points of clearing, and I would end up at the conference each time, so 5 years in a row, and I would end up meeting doctors, scientists, all these experts in the field who know this technology inside and out. All the while, I'm becoming more and more sensitive and had to understand, right? So I'd go to these meetings and learn more and spend time with like-minded people who understand it. And all the while, my friend was getting the go-ahead to bring the technology into Canada, which took a lot of effort. And I knew spiritually I was assisting in that to bring it over successfully. And so what else? And just all the people I've met, it's just incredible. So all these professionals who specialize in this field and know the effects, for some reason, they're sensitives too, which is why I say if you're a doctor or a scientist, you would get into that field because you've seen or you've seen the case studies of how it works energetically, right?
Mm.
And also how the damaging effects of dirty electricity, what it really is. They're sensitive to it. So that's
So
what
are these folks at these conferences, are they woke?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're woke. And the main ones I work with are, you wouldn't sit with them and have a conversation of spirituality per se. They're not woke in that way. They're woke into the new way of medicine healing energetically now, or scientists who are connecting spirituality with science, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then doctors who are seeing the natural side of things. So they're woke in that way, but they're not necessarily sitting there talking about beings and all that, what we talk about, but they
Well,
will be.
yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to say, because I talked to Murray Rodwell the other day, and she was talking about these groups that these private groups of professionals she's put together.
Mhm.
And one of those groups are doctors or people in the medical industry.
Yeah.
And she said these people are contacting me because I guess they know her and looking for assistance because they're getting downloads. And but they can't publicize it, obviously, for would be a threat to their profession. But what I'm getting at is, if these folks that you're talking about, and there's got to be other pockets of them around the world, um, they're opening up. They're I would think that they're going to be getting downloads for, say, more holistic treatments. What to do, what not to do, and so on. And as you know, and everybody else knows, when that voice starts talking to you, you can't go up against it. At least you can't for very long, or you're going to get your ass kicked. But
Yeah.
are you seeing any of that? Did you pick that up from any of these folks? Or are they starting to admit that they've had uh, downloads and transmissions and directions?
Yeah. I have one doctor friend who was a family physician, the general old family physician, not old, but the past way of doing things. And
Yeah.
she woke up and she could no longer practice the way she was practicing. So then she got into the realm of more natural healing. She works with cannabis now, oil, and she's also working with the government to bring that forth. And she's like totally woken up, where she looks back to how she used to practice and she's like, I can't do it anymore. She just can't, because she
Wow.
sees in it all. And there's many. So when we all get together, there's activations taking place where these
Yeah.
people, whether they know it or not, are on that path, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say a minute ago. Like you going to these conferences in Rome, you're picking up code,
mhm.
whether and vice versa,
Yeah.
whether you're consciously having a discussion or words are even exchanged. I mean, there's a lot to be said for being in the same space as other people now. I mean, we can exchange code right now. We're doing it right now, but when we're together, and this seems to be part of the plan, I guess, or the unfolding for 2020. Are you planning on initiating any gatherings or participating in any this year? Do you see any of that coming up?
For sure, I hope to be doing some grid work with people on important areas in the world to
Mm.
raise consciousness. Like I was in Sardinia 2, 3 years ago, and we with a group of these doctors and scientists and like-minded people, and we went to Sardinia, which is a sacred spot that connects with the Palladian and Orion belt.
Mm.
So we were there doing a what was it, a summer solstice? Yes, no, fall. It was in September anyway, and we all were around the sacred site with stones and under the sun doing meditation, and there were people levitating with us. And so they measure the energy, the shamans out there and the scientists out there measure the energy around these sacred sites with Bolvis, it's called. And the
Mm.
measurement was at 5,000 when we started. By the time we finished, it was at 20 million. So we raised the consciousness that high. They've never seen it that high ever,
Wow.
with our getting together to do this. And it was under the sun. I knew it was happening and it was very powerful. So I hope to go around the world and activate places more with others, and
Yeah.
meditation, and just spread the truth with globally.
So there was people levitating.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Now
My
why isn't this mainstream? You know?
No
I mean,
kidding.
it's well, I mean, because so much of what's happened to all of us has happened when we're alone,
Yeah.
right? And so we're all crazy. But when it starts to happen with two or more people, that's news. That's real news. That needs to be out there. And I
Yep.
guess that's what we're all attempting to do. What do you got going on in the near future? I know you're putting out, the videos on YouTube. What are you getting into? Where are you headed, as far as you know, with the work that you're doing?
Well, I intend on getting out a book and or an audio book on helping assisting star seeds and children on maintaining, sustaining, and building the light body,
Mm,
sun body, and connecting with source. And I intend to be an example of the new template of love with my divine beloved.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
biggest part of the mission. And speaking publicly on the truth and what I know to be truth and what is inorganic technology, and how to rise above any effects of 5G at all.
yeah, yeah. 5D doesn't bother me a bit. I mean,
No, I was
but
thinking about
mm,
you last night, thinking,
you were.
yeah, no, well, I was thinking about our
Oh, I
conversation,
know.
and
Yeah.
I'm thinking how for me it was a different route where I came out with a few videos and I was upset about what I've been shown and how humans, or how this 5G is apparently, it's inorganic and it's affecting organic life, right? And for those like yourself who it doesn't affect, it's because in your own way you've risen above it already. It means
Mhm.
nothing to you. The reason it means something to me is because I have to teach it. I have to teach it
Yeah,
to.
it's part of your mission. It's
Yeah,
part of your thing. No, and I'm not judging it at all. I'm just making the comment. So, and I've had this conversation with several people, and even recently,
Mhm.
one was a PhD who writes some really good stuff. And I said, well, wait a minute, and I realized that at different, I hate to say levels, but at different frequencies, one reality one truth may supersede another truth. In other words, when we elevate, even in our own right, there's certain things we didn't see until we elevated, that we were unaware of. But what I'm trying to get at is I asked a few of these people, so if everything is made of the same goddess substance, how can there be any AI? You know,
Oh,
or is it only applicable to this realm in a way of kind of navigating this realm, differentiating extremities or polarities or that type of thing? Do you have any?
okay. Yeah. So this is interesting when you mention AI. So you know how when I see those license plates and stuff,
Mhm.
so when I originally was seeing them, I saw right before my eyes license plates spin from one wording to another right before my eyes, right?
Wow.
And at the time, this is when I was in my late 20s, and I thought I was nuts, so I just dismissed it, never thought about it again. And then when I started seeing the license plates, like I would see the womb on my birthday or the ark on another significant gateway day, or I would see twin power or this and that, and like who puts that on their license plate, right? So later, after I wrote my book and included 700 pictures, or not, I think it was 150 pictures of license plates that I was shown while publishing and editing my book, that was pure magic. Like you couldn't make it up. And I'm like, where's this coming from? So the reason I bring this up is I saw one license plate last year that said AI imagery.
Hmm.
And I'm like, so this is artificial intelligence imagery, but that doesn't make sense because I'm connected with source. But I
Hmm.
think that there are beings here of the highest benevolence that are able to work with AI.
Yeah. Well, I would think so. I mean, I would think if it's all the same energy at the end of the day, we can integrate and transform it and do whatever whatever we want, as long as we're in the right place. I mean, obviously, if we feel, whether it's a person or a place or an event, if we feel inferior or we feel less powerful than that perception of whatever it is, then obviously we can't do anything but being at some level of fear and react based on that fear. but it's an interesting thing. And I think it's, everything seems to be changing. The truth today is the truth today. We wake up tomorrow and there's a higher truth, and it's really interesting. It really pushes me, I know, and I think as I observe others, to stay open. You got to stay open. I mean, we can't throw any absolutes down because, that's a limitation, and we know this universe is not about limitations. Do you do activations or channels or anything like that? Is there anything that you want to do before we head out? Anything you want to offer up or anything you want to talk about?
Maybe a short meditation of integrating the light.
Sure. Yeah. This would be integrating the central sun.
The cosmic, the creator light and the cosmic, starting there and then bringing it into earth. So that's what I want. I want to teach people how to do that, to sustain our light body around the earth.
All right, let's do that.
Okay. So I'm going to talk and explain what to do for a meditation in order to anchor and ground the creation light of all creation. Yeah. And so what I would do on a normal day is I would just go into meditation and first bring in the white light. So just close your eyes, breathe deeply, and bring forth the white light. Enter into your crown, in through your chamber system of light, which is also known as your chakra portals of communication. And then expand that white light around your body, your physical body, your mental, emotional, etheric body, however you see that. And ask any of your guides, whoever you may work with, ascended masters, angels, archangels, God, source, creator, mother, father, God, to come through, clear away any negativity, any energies that are trying to hold on in your energy, and clear them away and take them to the best place for them and let them know that they are fully loved and light. Take them to their best place. That can sometimes take some time, so just breathe. Clear away all that no longer can sustain in this light white of light, white, light. And then surround yourself with the golden seal of the sun around this light. And then we are connecting now with the light of all creation, which is an androgynous being. And the rainbow spectrum as well of light and white light. And then visualize the I am presence of this light surrounded by 12 suns as bright as 1,000,000 suns, slowly rotating around this sun. And this is true creation. Creation's being written with sacred geometry within this light, golden white light, connecting. And there's a gateway portal actually where each and every one can, once they get into this frequency of light, can actually go into and download creational codes. But for now, we just get used to the light and then bring it through now to the cosmic light, cosmic sun that can filter through the light of creation. Watching your own sun body expanding as we do this, and taking it down into the central sun, filtering through so our bodies can take in the light. And watch it stream down. And as you're watching it, you can visualize it like pouring light, pouring out of the center of this light with 12 suns as bright as 1,000,000 suns, pouring through from the galactic central sun into our solar suns. I believe you can say suns, and then coming through into a sun disk that is around the crown of your head, an actual sun disk that can take in this light and then bring it through your crown as white light into your third eye, and then down through your third eye, which is purple. So you're bringing in the rainbow creator frequencies into the third eye, the throat, which is indigo blue, higher heart, pink, green heart, solar plexus, yellow, creativity, sexual portal, which is orange, and then the root chakra to ground us to the spirit of Terra Nova, Gaia. And then so from here, just take that energy in and watch your feet on a mountaintop or some grass or moss, and then connect your feet and take the light through while you're visualizing your roots of your skin, of your body, going through the granite rock, expanding out like a tree, down through more rock and gravel and sand, clay, iron, all the precious metals of the earth. Just bring it through. And as you're taking your roots through, you can feel the nutrients of the earth coming into your physical, emotional, mental body. And then eventually you connect with the crystal quartz of the earth, which the crystalline body of the earth right now is activating very fast crystal quartz into the sun body of the core of the earth. And once you hit that, you'll feel the raising of light come through your light body all the way back up to the cosmic sun. And then just visualize that encasing every human heart in the world, as well as integrating into every human in the world and around the earth. And just saying that. And expand your light system and activate your minds. And then at this point, you can connect with your divine other, even before, if you haven't already.
All right.
Yeah, and that's it.
All right.
That's what I like to do.
Thank you for that. Hey, that was cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, allowing me to do it here.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate it. I look forward to future collaborations. And thank you for all the work you're doing.
Yeah.
And because I know it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't know if we should call it work, but I mean, you don't really have a choice. But I really appreciate it. It's good to see you, and I wish you and all your loved ones the best.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Yeah, you take care. All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you later.